Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark and Jacey. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it,
Squatch it.
At 4 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com, and remember, the party starts at Ruper's. Also, by DeBlois Electric, building lasting relationships since 1967. From homes to businesses, their licensed, fully trained technicians handle it all. Repairs, upgrades, standby generators, EV chargers, heat pumps, and more. No job is too big, and no job is too small. Learn more at DeBloiselectric.com.
And today we have the pleasure of being joined in studio by the new president and CEO of the Lewiston Auburn Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, Susan Ruhlin. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. Susan has been on the job for 3 weeks now?
Yes, 3 weeks.
A big sigh there.
Yes, no, it's a lot. I keep saying it's a fire hose of information, but I'm loving it so far. It's been really great.
Awesome. Love to hear that. We are going to talk to Susan all about the LA Metro Chamber and its events and a whole lot more coming up here in just a bit. But before we get there, let's take a look at some headlines for Tuesday, April 14th.
The Sun-Journal reports that fire and rescue crews pulled a middle-aged woman from the Little Androscoggin River yesterday afternoon. The woman was reported to be unconscious and having difficulty breathing. An Auburn police officer performed CPR before she was brought to shore and carried to a waiting ambulance. It is unclear how she ended up in the river.
The city of Lewiston will roll out a new cart-to-curb solid waste and recycling program this summer. According to the city, the new industry standard would eliminate workers outside of the collection vehicles. Pickup would be done from inside the cab of the truck using a mechanical arm. The process is described as a more efficient and safer alternative. According to OSHA, manual trash collection is one of the top 10 most dangerous jobs.
Governor Mills' supplemental budget, which was recently signed into law, includes a bell-to-bell policy banning cell phone use for the entire school day. Phones will be allowed on school property, but can only be used for emergency situations. Experts say too much screen time has been linked to depression and in some cases suicide.
JC, how do you feel about that one?
I feel like it could be good.
I don't see a downside.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It is great. Let's get the kids off the phones for a while and have some actual interaction.
I know. People I do think are always concerned, like, what if there's an emergency and I need to reach my child? But I think from what I understand, schools are taking that into consideration and they have a plan for that.
Yes. Yep.
I think especially younger kids, like middle school and stuff, I think it's good for them to be kids.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I was kind of happy to see that.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah. And the Lewiston City Council will hold a fiscal year 2027 budget workshop tonight at 6 p.m. at City Hall. The public is welcome to attend. The meeting will also be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. The full agenda is available at lewistonmaine.gov. Now it's time for the weather.
Rain or shine, it's all okay. Grab your uke and start the day. You don't need perfect skies above. Hey, just a song and a little love.
A mixture of sun and clouds today with some evening rain. High of 69 and a low of 50. Cloudy tomorrow with some early evening showers. High of 65 and low of 48. Cloudy with scattered showers on Thursday with highs approaching 70. We're getting there.
We're getting there. Slow but sure. In sports, Garrett Crochet was roughed up for 9 hits and 11 runs in 1 2/3 innings as the Red Sox fell to the Twins 13-6. They'll play again tonight at 7:30 in Minnesota.
The Bruins close out their regular season against the New Jersey Devils tonight at 7 p.m. at TD Garden.
Bates College baseball will visit St. Joseph's College this afternoon at 3:30.
Central Maine Community College softball will host a doubleheader against Southern Maine Community College today. First pitches are scheduled for 4 and 6 p.m.
And Bob Blackman and Jim Taylor are among 11 inductees of the Maine Baseball Hall of Fame's class of 2026. Blackman coached St. Dom's High School to 9 state titles in 22 seasons. He now coaches at Grey New Gloucester. Lewiston's Taylor was a founding member of the Central Maine Board of Approved Baseball Umpires and assisted in starting the Maine chapter of the Collegiate Baseball Umpires Association. That is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it's time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping the Twin Cities. Sometimes Jacey and I need backup. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for April the 14th. We're going to start off with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who is 49 years old today. Her breakthrough role came as Kendall Hart on the soap opera All My Children, which ran in the mid-90s. Well, she was on the show in the mid-90s. She also achieved international recognition for her portrayal of Buffy Summers on the supernatural series Buffy the Vampire Slayer from 97 to 2003. Actor Adrian Brody, 53 years old today. He won 2 Academy Awards for Best Actor for his work in the drama The Pianist, which came out in 2002, and the period epic The Brutalist, which came out in 2024. His first win at age 29 made him the youngest winner in the category. Anthony Michael Hall is 58 years old today. He played Rusty Griswold in the National Lampoon's Vacation movie that came out in 1983. He also had breakout starring roles in 3 John Hughes-directed films, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Weird Science. 3 80s movies that could never be made today. And to avoid being typecast, he also starred in films like Out of Bounds, Johnny Be Good, and Edward Scissorhands. Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond is 66 years old today. He played Raymond's brother, Robert Barone, on the sitcom, which lasted for 9 seasons. And he also gave an Emmy-nominated performance as Jackie Gleason in the TV film Gleason. And rounding out FPBs for April the 14th is guitar legend Ritchie Blackmore, who is 81 years old today, a co-founding member of Deep Purple and a founding member of Rainbow. He's cited by publications such as Guitar World and Rolling Stone and this podcast as one of the greatest and most influential players of all time. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in April of 2016. Those are your FPBs. Now it's time for some OTDs. It happened on this day. It happened on this day. It happened on this day. Susan would actually be bopping along to that one. Usually I get some bad looks. Like, why are you making me listen to this?
It's great.
Oh, thanks.
I love it.
Thank you.
Did you create it?
I did.
Oh, that's cool.
I tell people that's what happens when they leave me home alone with recording equipment.
Oh, well, I've always thought it would be a fun game to kind of make jingles.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of cool. I think about that a lot when I'm driving.
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, we're all about the jingles.
They're great.
We need a jingle for our jingles.
14 years ago in 2012, Guns N' Roses, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, Faces, and The Miracles were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Not a bad class right there.
Beastie Boys, come on.
Do you like the Beastie Boys?
Yes.
Susan, we're going to be best friends.
I just wish they had a longer run.
Yes. Yeah. They had a pretty decent run.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, come on. That's also great.
Chili Peppers are great.
Yeah. I'm kind of a Laurel Canyon 70s, musician. Like, put me there, teleport me back. I would be so happy. I think that was one of the greatest eras
I agree.
in music.
70s were great. That was like 100 years before you were born.
It's oldies for you.
That's right.
57 years ago, in 1969, Katharine Hepburn and Barbra Streisand tied for the Best Actress Oscar. Hepburn got it for The Lion in Winter, and Streisand won for Funny Girl. 114 years ago, in 1912, the unsinkable Titanic collided with an iceberg on its maiden voyage and began sinking. 716 passengers survived, and 1,517 drowned in the icy water. I watched the Titanic when I was younger, and it gave me nightmares for so long.
Yeah.
I have like a fear of water.
Oh, it's terrifying.
And yeah.
You wonder if people just took the warning seriously earlier, if that would have saved so many more lives.
Yeah.
It just felt like such a just avoidance situation, you know?
And 161 years ago, in 1865, President Lincoln was shot and mortally wounded by John Wilkes Booth while attending the comedy Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater in Washington. Lincoln died the following morning.
I do want to throw this one in here as well because I have a question for both of you after you hear this. 33 years ago, in 1993, Don Calhoun of Bloomington, Illinois, got a free ticket to a Chicago Bulls Miami Heat game from a friend. A member of the Bulls promo staff approached him during the second quarter and asked if he'd like to take a full court shot at halftime for $1 million. He accepted, he made the shot, and went home a millionaire.
Wow.
Now, do you share any of that with your friend who gave you the ticket?
Ooh. Everybody is generous when they don't have the money.
True.
Right?
Yes.
We always talk about our lottery winnings. We're going to build this youth park, sports park,
Yes.
etc.
But when it comes down to it,
I'd like to say that I would, of course. But I wonder. What do
Yeah.
you think, Jacey?
I think I definitely would. How much would be like the question though?
That's
Like,
the
do you
one.
just pay them back for the ticket?
Oh, no.
No, it's almost worse, I feel like.
I think the number that popped into my head was $100,000.
Yeah,
Like-
that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
I
I mean,
think-
you got $1 million.
Well, you're losing a lot to taxes, though.
Right, after taxes, you got like 400,000 probably. Right?
Yeah.
I think I'd offer him $100,000 and call it good.
Yeah.
I think that's probably
Yeah.
the right thing.
All right.
You could continue to be friends.
Right.
Yes. Those are your FPVs and OTDs for April the 14th.
Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the LA area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Dirigo Federal Credit Union is proud to call Lewiston, Auburn home. Whether you're buying a house, saving for the future, or growing your business, we're here for you, right where you live. Visit dirigofcu.com and feel the difference of a credit union that truly knows LA.
And now we shift focus fully to our guest in studio, new president and CEO for the Lewiston Auburn Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, Susan Ruhlin. Could you give us a little bit of background on yourself and how you came into this position at the chamber?
Sure. Yeah. Well, for the last probably 20 years, I've been working in and around entrepreneurship. I got introduced to this community. Well, I've always known and been a part of Lewiston, Auburn generally because my mother is from this. She grew up on Dion Street, went to Holy Family School. So I've been coming to this region for my whole life. Mm-hmm. But I started working for the Maine Center for Entrepreneurs back in 2009, and we launched Maine's first startup accelerator called Top Gun, which professionally is how I was introduced to this region. Came here with Top Gun, and we were expanding the program statewide, and Lewiston was our second. We had been up to the Bangor area first with partners at the University of Maine, and so we then expanded to this region. So I got a chance to kind of meet some of the people involved at the chamber and through the Growth Council that was in existence at the time formally. And so they hosted a Top Gun session, and I think it continued on until maybe 2 years ago.
That was always one of my favorite chamber events.
Yeah.
I loved the pitch off. And I don't know if Jacey's familiar or maybe we have some listeners that aren't familiar with Top Gun, but if you've ever seen the show Shark Tank,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
where entrepreneurs go on and they pitch their product or their service, and then they select a winner at the end of all that. And I always loved it because I love entrepreneurship.
I do too.
And just to see the passion that a lot of these
Exactly.
people had and the belief they had in their product or service.
Precisely. And, you know, working with entrepreneurs is infectious. You just feel that passion, and then before you know it, you're just championing them. But that role basically involved finding subject matter experts who were local and finding mentors who were local and building that sort of cohort of community here to support entrepreneurship. So from there, I worked for the Maine Center for Entrepreneurs. We expanded Top Gun at the time to 5 locations. And then in 2017, I began to really have this desire to sort of put into practice what I felt had been a little bit theoretical for me personally, and had the opportunity to go and work for a startup that was in the energy space called Introspective Systems. We later rebranded to Dynamic Grid, and that I became the vice president of operations there. So I got to see a little bit of everything related to what we had been talking about a lot in Top Gun. So everything from, raising money with investors. We were recipients of 3 research grants that are known as Small Business Innovation Research Grants. So they can be quite lucrative in assisting startup founders from getting their research into commercialized, I should say. So I did that for about 4 years, and then pandemic hit all of us.
We remember that.
So we everyone sort of went home to make sourdough bread and watch birds and
Tiger
take hikes
King
in the
or something?
woods and watch Tiger King and all the things we all did collectively to kind of get through the pandemic. And then an opportunity arose in Waterville to launch a startup accelerator there through a cool program through USEDA. And so I had the opportunity to sort of do that Top Gun work in Waterville, learned a lot, great community, great group of people to work with. Stayed there for about 4 years, and then I had this burning desire to launch my own startup, so I did that, stayed home. I said to my husband, can I just have 6 months? Just 6 months to work on this, and he was so gracious and wonderful, let me do that. But then this job came about, and it sort of weaved together all of my professional background, and I had been really missing working with a team, and I love the idea of developing programs, and I love economic development work, so I saw this, and I just felt like it was the right fit. I am so fortunate to have had the opportunity to work for 3 weeks with Shanna Cox, who she's a dynamo. What a great person she is personally. I so view her as a mentor. I know no matter what, if it's 9 months from now, I could send her a text and she would be there to help me in a heartbeat. She's just a wonderful person. And the team that I have the privilege of working with, amazing. They're just a tremendous group of people. So I feel extremely fortunate, and I look forward to serving this community.
3 weeks into the job.
Yeah.
How is it going so far? Is it what you expected?
Yeah, I think it is what I expected. I'm still learning a lot, as I said, but this community is, here's something I will say, very different from the inside than from the outside. There's such a community spirit here, both in Auburn and in Lewiston and in Turner and in Durham, all of the communities that we support. There's 16 of them. And this is a very young, it's actually technically the youngest county by 4 years by a lot. And you don't think about that much, but I see it. I feel it. There's a vibrancy. There's a way we're approaching things that are different than other parts of the state, I think. And it's something I really celebrate.
I remember a few weeks ago when we were doing the Chamber podcast with Shanna, and she was like officially passing the torch on to you. And I think the question was, if you could use one word to describe this community, what would it be? And you said
pride. Yeah, I said pride. I want people to feel that, and I sense that. Like they feel a pride here. And I went into Craft Brews Underground, and there's a comedy club there. Yep. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. First of all, that pub is my kind of pub. Yeah. Like I feel like I can go there, and after 3 visits, they're going to know what I want to drink, and they're going to remember me. And then the comedy club, I loved the story behind how that started. It just speaks to me and then people were referring to me while I was there. They were referring other cocktail bars to go to and other restaurants to try, and I love that. It's great.
Craft Brew Underground does have, I think they have over 200
a lot
different beers and wines and meads and all the things to try. So they may not know your drink after your third
True,
time.
it does. They do rotate the taps.
Because you may mix it up
Right.
after a while.
But I just love brewers generally because it's one of the, have you guys heard that term, co-optition?
No.
It's kind of like you're in competition with another brewery, but you're also partnered with other breweries, right? Everybody does better when everybody does better. Yeah. Kind of like if a town only has one restaurant, it's not good for that restaurant. But if a town has 10 restaurants, people will see you as like a food destination. Yeah. And I think brewers in particular, they support each other. They partner on a lot of things. And I've always loved that co-optition feeling. So I have a soft spot for breweries.
Love it.
And of course, Baxter's great.
Yes.
Shout out to Baxter.
We have so many here.
I know, it's
just
so
wonderful.
great.
You touched on this a little bit earlier, Susan, but how would you describe this community to someone who has never visited?
Vibrant. It is a vibrant place. It is lively. It is welcoming. It is, I think, a story that is just beginning to be told. I think that communities, we've seen this in places like Biddeford. I feel this is maybe happening also in a place like Rumford. It's evolving, and the story is being rewritten, and it's a really, really positive one. And this community has some really strong assets. You have academic institutions. You have a great geographic location. So it's so commutable to so many places, and I think things that are important to young professionals like infrastructure, housing is happening here. So I think it's a vibrant place that's truly in the process of becoming the very best place.
How would you describe the Chamber's role in this community?
I think the Chamber's role is to support and advocate for all of the people who are in this community. It's not just about business, right? It's about supporting the many organizations that are here doing great work. It's partnering with the academic institutions. I think it's truly, I know this sounds so cliche, but I do think it is making this place a good place to, we say build, lead, thrive, but to raise your family, to come and work here, to build a life here.
And what do you hope to accomplish during your time at the Chamber? I know that might be an unfair question, seeing how you're only 3 weeks in.
Yeah. No, it's not an unfair question. I would really love to do something big with entrepreneurship, because I do think at the backbone of all communities is business, small business and startup type businesses. I think that plays such a pivotal role in economic development generally. So I really would love to do something big there.
I'm curious when your fascination and passion for entrepreneurship and small business began.
Probably in a restaurant, truly. I worked in restaurants a lot when I was in high school. Actually, I think my very first job was at Brontes Restaurant in Bangor. It was a little small diner, and I learned so much about life in a restaurant. And of course, there are many of them, and it's a hard business. But you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about literally business when you're there. Sometimes I've talked to people who've spent time in working in a business, and it's like you can work with someone in a restaurant who has a PhD in philosophy, and then you can work with someone who's done time. And it's just a beautiful kind of synergy of all these blended backgrounds working together in a high, stressful environment. Yep. And great things happen.
Yes.
So I think you can learn a lot from that. So I think the seeds were planted then. I did own a small business in Gorham, a formal wear business for about 2 or 3 years. I sold to my partner, learned a lot from that experience. And of course, having a startup, very different kind of business. And I also worked for, as I said earlier, Introspective Systems, which was an energy company.
I love what you said about restaurants, because I have worked in restaurants. Jacey, I don't know if you ever have, but you learn how to become a team member, and you're working with people from all walks of life.
Yep.
Like you said, and you have a common goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, back in our radio days, Sarah and I would interview the chief of police for the city of Auburn on a monthly basis, Chief Jason Moen. And while he was recruiting, he said when he was looking through applications, when he saw an application where someone had experience working in a restaurant, he set that one aside.
Yeah.
Because that person has people skills.
And can handle stress.
Absolutely. two of the biggest qualifications you need to be an effective law enforcement officer: handling stress and people skills.
Precisely. I think it's like, yeah, I was in a busy Saturday night. We were shorthanded 3 people. I think that's the same level of stress as someone who's working in an emergency room or somebody who's trading stocks on Wall Street. Like, I think it's the same.
Yeah.
It feels.
I do want to share this with you because you do have experience in the restaurant industry, and it just made me think of it. I had the opportunity to chat with Heidi Parent, who I believe she's from Auburn, but now is teaching in Augusta. She was on season 14 of Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got to judge a Mrs. Maine pageant together. So we spent a lot of time together, and we got to talking, and I was like, Heidi, I've worked in a restaurant, but never really in the kitchen. I've dabbled in the kitchen, but never really in high-stress environments and all that. And that's what Heidi did. I mean, she is an incredible chef. I was like, why is it such a high-stress environment? Why are people just out of their minds working in the kitchen? And she looked at me and she says, Mark, people are hungry. And that's all she needed to say. And I'm like, you know what? She's right. Everyone out there is hungry and they're waiting for their food.
But the worst is breakfast, because you're never going to get the toast right. Ever. It's always going to be a little cold. Right. People need their coffee.
Yeah. How do you take your toast?
Oh, gosh, I'm a fussy toast eater.
Are you?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not dark. It can't be too dark and it can't be too light.
All right.
And it needs to be hot and preferably sourdough.
That's golden brown.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly.
Susan, you have a lot of events coming up with the Chamber, and a big one, is coming up in 2 days.
Yes. Yes. That's a heavy lift for the whole team, and it's a big event. We just had our breakfast event, which was great. We had Reggie Parsons, who's from the Maine Department of Labor, talking about paid family leave, which is so topically relevant to so many businesses. And before I talk about B2B, I just would like to give a shout out to Sam Harriet, who led our Business Lab series, so our entrepreneurship program. And they just wrapped up yesterday. We had the second in the series of Business Labs. So she had a little pitch event for 6 entrepreneurs, and I understand it went very, very well. So I just want to say she did such a great job with that, and so happy that we had a total of 12 entrepreneurs participate in the program. So
awesome.
We're looking forward to even doing more with that and building it out.
Sam's great.
Oh, she's so great. We're so fortunate to have her.
Your whole team, really.
I know. It's really, I'm so fortunate to be able to work alongside them, and they're teaching me so much. Okay, B2B Trade Show Thursday, and that is from 1 to 5:30. We have a cocktail hour at 3:30, sponsored by Home at Last Realty. Main sponsors are City of Lewiston and Maine Community Bank. And then we have Binney Media and WGME, Fox, as our media partners. It is free if you register. So team wanted me to really say, please register ahead of time. You'll have to pay $5 at the door. We have lots of room. It's at Norway Savings Bank Arena in Auburn, if I didn't say that earlier. So that's something that I think is such a good opportunity to meet people in business, to network, to connect, to do it in a fun way, to tell your story of your business to a lot of different people. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a great event. Next event is an Uplift LA event. Cue the Conversations Fun After 5. These events are free. I went to Brewing Connections, and I went to a trivia event that was another Uplift LA event, which is phenomenal. So that is Wednesday, April 22nd, 6 to 7:30 at Legends Sports Bar and Grill. It's, as I mentioned, it's free and great casual networking pool and making some good community connections. Then we have something that is probably topically relevant for most employers. We have small business employers event called Know the Rules and Regulations of the Fair Labor Standards Act. That's on Thursday, April 30th, and we have 2 sessions, so we can do a 10 a.m. or a 4 p.m. It's Lewiston, our office on 415 Lisbon Street. It's a free seminar presented in partnership with the U.S. Department of Labor. If you are interested in attending, the sessions will cover minimum wage, overtime pay, child labor, record keeping, exemptions, and the speaker will be Anna Maria Allaire, Community Outreach and Resource Planning Specialist at the U.S. Department of Labor. And then I want to just call out one more event, if I may. This is Maine's Got Talent, and it's presented by Maine Community Bank. It is Saturday, May 2nd at 6:30 to 10, and it's a music competition featuring Maine musicians. This is an annual fundraiser, and it will support Andwell's Pediatric Services. There are cash prizes for the top 3 performers, and it will be emceed by our own Justin Morin. And chamber members receive 20% off tickets, and that will be held at the Donald M. Gay Performing Arts Center at Edward Little High School.
And our very own Pam Ashby, owner of Lydia
Yes.
Media, is going to be a judge. One of
amazing.
3 judges at Maine's Got Talent. So I'm very excited for Pam. She is going to be joined, I believe, by Julia Gagnon from American Idol fame.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a singer for a country band whose name escapes me at the moment. But Pam was like, she was nervous. She's like, I'm the only one without a musical background. And I was like, Pam, you're going to be the voice of the audience.
Right.
Well, not everyone in the audience is going to have a musical background, but
Right.
you're going to be their voice. That's great. I'm glad you mentioned that. Maine's Got Talent is just a wonderful event that we have in this community for a great cause as well. And Susan, you have the annual awards ceremony coming up as well, the Chamber Awards.
Yes, I'm so looking forward to this event. We have selected the winners. This event will be on the 21st at the Poland Spring Resort, which I'm told is a really beautiful place to host this event. And this is where this is sort of our black tie-ish kind of formal cocktail event. So I'll talk more about that at our next podcast, which will probably be just before that event.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. There are 5 awards that are being given out that night.
Yes, and I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about the winners. They're great, and I will look forward to talking about the nature of those awards and what the criteria for the awards is. And I think that'll be great to chat about next time.
All right.
Teaser on that.
Fantastic. If you'd like more information about any event that Susan mentioned during today's show, you can log on to lametrochamber.com.
Uncle Andy's Digest is turning 30, and you're invited to celebrate with us. Join us Friday, May 22nd from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn, Auburn Riverwatch for a night of celebration. For 3 decades, Uncle Andy's Digest has been Central Maine's community-focused monthly advertising publication, connecting local businesses with loyal readers. Enjoy 90s music from Palo Entertainment, hors d'oeuvres, a cash bar, and recognition of our longest-running advertisers, and much more. Find all the details in the latest issue of Uncle Andy's and on Facebook. We can't wait to see you there.
Susan, we like to close out the show with a segment called 3 Random Questions, where Jacey and I are going to ask you questions that have nothing to do with the chamber.
Okay.
We're just trying to get to know you a little better. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Susan, you mentioned earlier that you're a big music fan.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the Beastie Boys and 70s tunes and all that. If you could attend any concert in history and be front row center, where would you go and why?
Gosh, initially I would have said the Eagles. Love the Eagles so much. But my wedding song was Our House by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. So when they were at their heyday of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, so probably it was so prescient of our marriage and life together. We had three girls. We raised our family in Cornish, Maine. We had horses. We had animals. You know, we had that song conjures up when you hear the lyrics to it.
How many cats were in the yard? Like 2 cats?
2
3
cats
in the yard?
yeah.
What was the best gift you've ever received?
Oh, gosh, that's a great question.
Oh, we dig deep here, Susan.
Yeah, you do. The greatest gift I've ever received. I really have to think about that. All right, here's a funny story I'm going to share. We had a family heirloom ruby that my great-grandmother Rose's family had a jewelry store in Auburn called Hamill's Jewelry Store. And this ruby was storied, and it had been my Rose's ring, my great-grandmother. It had been my grandmother's. My mother passed away at a younger age. She was in her early 40s, so my aunt received it, and then she gave it to me, and I was so honored to have it, and I wore it through each of my pregnancies. It brought me such good luck. I was so excited, but it had a filigree setting And so I said, I'm going to fix this ring. So I took it to get it fixed. And it had filigree, was an intricate kind of setting. And what I was told at the jeweler was that it was not a ruby. It was actually a piece of glass.
Wow.
So I think that is, and apparently that's what was done at the time, was they would put glass stones in case there was a robbery or something, like someone broke the window. They didn't remove things from the windows, but it's still the greatest. I think about that as like one of the greatest gifts I ever received, because it made me realize it's not about stuff. It's about, to me, it's about the spirit of what it was. And it still is one of my most prized possessions, even though I know it is just a piece of red glass.
Right.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because it may have lost monetary value when you learned it was glass, but it did not lose its sentimental value.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. It kind of stopped me and made me pause for a minute, because, gosh, you can be given so many things.
Right.
But animals, too, like dogs. Yeah. Somebody gave me a dog once that was very special to me. So
I think that was a great answer.
Thank you.
Jacey's been killing it with the questions lately. All right, Susan, final question for you. Putting your professional skills aside, what could you teach someone to do today with 100% certainty?
Ooh, gosh. How to take a risk. How to consider, like, the pros and cons of doing something, whether it's taking a job or not, or whether it is starting a business or making that purchase or not. I think I'm pretty good at kind of that checks and balances kind of thing. I feel confident in that. I'm of a certain age. I'm 61. So, like, there's something, like, powerful in that I could say something slang and wouldn't be appropriate for this podcast.
We can bleep it out. It's totally fine.
But
We've done it before.
No, but I think, like, when you arrive at this age, like, it's such a blessing. And but I'm also like, I have experience. I can help you think this through and talk this through. I feel confident in that. So
great answer. You get your priorities in order as you age, and I'm finding that as well. It's a privilege.
It is.
To get older.
And I had a toast. We had a dinner in one of my favorite little restaurants in Westbrook, Maine, called Casa Novello. And I said, the best part of turning 60 is turning 60. You made it to 60, right? But I like to always think of myself as younger than that, so...
You'll get there someday, Jacey.
Yes.
Another 30 or 40 years.
Yes.
I've never been scared of aging.
Yeah.
No, my mom has always talked highly of every year. She's like, I swear it gets better.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
And she's like, you stop caring. Everything's about what's going to make you happy. You don't care anymore about all of the superficial things.
She is so right.
Yeah. So I've tried taking that on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I don't know that I want to go back and redo my 20s.
Yeah.
You think about all just the stupid little things we thought were were such a big deal, or oh my God, it's the end of the world. No.
Or I'm turning 30.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. And
Yeah.
are you kidding? No.
Yeah.
They're all great decades, honestly, truly.
Yeah. Susan, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
And we look forward to having you back next month, where we will talk more things chamber and get into some detail about the big awards ceremony.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good stuff. Thanks to Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and DeBlois Electric for sponsoring today's episode. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.
Have a great day. And remember, don't bite your cat. And I will say I have bitten my cat.